All right, you all. Obviously, this is going to be the skills identification webinar out of the Swift webinar series. I'm the host for today, Shamir Brown. Um, the series is part of a four-part series that what we hope to do for those of you who participate is to kind of give you all some good takeaways with respect to um, better establishing your professional presence, getting you ready to take advantage of opportunities in the career field you're trying to be a part of, and help you all with like editing, updating, or simply creating resumes so that you have what you need to actually apply for jobs, and then also to be able to search for jobs when that time comes. It may be here already, so whatever stage you're at, we hope you can get something from at least one of these series. Um, that will be very useful to you going forward. And the webinars, while they are presentations, so to speak, and sort of interactive, there's also the ability to contact me at any point in time regarding anything that you might see in any of the webinars, and I'll be more than willing to try and assist you in these areas.
Cool.
All right. All right. So obviously, we're handling the strength and skills identification webinar today. Um, I quickly spoke about some of the four. We got job search strategies coming up in the next webinar a week from now. That'll be handled by Brennan Hightower, who's the silent guest in today's webinar meet, followed by resume writing and development, and then interview readiness. Today's webinar probably connects most with resume writing and development because with strength and skills identification, it sets you up to better put your strength and skills down on paper in a more professional manner, which is a lot of what you'll be doing when it's time to construct resumes. But in order to construct a resume, you can have your layout fine. You can understand what sections should be there, what type of wording you may or may not want to use. But if you don't understand strength and skills and how to word them properly, then constructing a resume is sort of difficult. So these two sort of tie in together more so than the others do. All right. The purpose of today's webinar is to like, understand strength and skills. Um, the words are
It's,
straightforward. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Those dates you just showed, you're going to email those dates, right?
Um, they are on the form, the sign up
Okay.
form, but um, I'd be more than happy to. I'll just let me make a note of that in case someone else is thinking along the same lines. I'll definitely send a reminder. Each one will have a reminder that goes out to of its own. So you should
Okay.
be seeing a reminder for the other webinar coming in a week, either today, tomorrow. Sounds about right. Um, but I'll make sure to send them out myself or to remind the hosts. Just a moment. This student is. Okay. All right. The purpose is to understand strength and skills. Strength and skills, they're straightforward words, but when it's time to actually take those definitions of those two words and kind of know what that means when we're putting it into writing on paper, it gets a little bit different. And sometimes we can find ourselves struggling to try to uh, tell an employer who may be reading our resume what it is we do best. So understanding them is going to be a very big key in this webinar. Um, transitioning to the idea of competencies, which is sort of like when you combine hard skills and soft skills, it's better sometimes to list them as competencies because they have a more technical feel to them when they're read on paper. We're going to be taking a look at that. We're going to have some practice exercises where we list skills, um, construct some competencies, put together a job description and sort of reword it from the way we originally might state it, and then kind of look at a better way that we could word it on paper. And then we're going to develop a little bit better understanding of how all of this applies and take a look at some helpful resources that may be of use to you. I think the student says that she is in. I want to be sure. I am sorry about this with respect to you all's time. I do not want to slow things down. So if she says she's in, I'm going to hope that she finds her way. All right. All right. In terms of strengths is probably the smaller piece of the strengths and skills webinar today. Um, the whole purpose of it is all of us are, kind of looking to make some sort of career change. Not sure what happened there. All right. With respect to strengths, all of us are sort of making a career change here, or trying to find a new career altogether. And we just want to take a look at where it is that we are strong, trying to get into areas of work where we're not quite strong. It's quite difficult. And in a lot of instances, it simply doesn't make any sense. And if you are going to try to pursue something where you have a lot of weaknesses, you're going to have to try and get strong first. But the focus to that is trying to make sure we identify exactly what we do well. That's how we identify our strengths. Um, it's sometimes something we just kind of sit down with ourselves and kind of think about, what is it that I do well in the workplace? What kind of skills do I have where I feel confident about my ability to perform without a lot of additional training, or where I feel I could be strong quite easily within a week's worth of training? Uh, all those are your areas of strengths. That's kind of what we want to focus on when we're putting together our skill sets and learning how to list them on paper. We want to know what we do well, because that best determines the area of focus that we should be eyeballing in terms of career opportunities. So what is a skill? A skill is just the ability to carry out a task, usually within a set amount of time. Um, there are different types of skills, but in essence, that's the basic breakdown of a skill. We all have different skills. Some of us are excellent writers. Some of us are very good at communication, some good at organization. Um, some of us can type really well. All these are skills, and they break down into different categories. The two primary categories, though you may find a lot of skills um, listed, if you take a look on the internet, or if you just aware of different skills that are available to you. Their soft skills and hard skills are the two primary categories, though. Soft skills are things like, I'm good at communication, good with customer service, I'm a fast learner, things of that nature. Hard worker, those are soft skills, but still important. Hard skills are more on your technical side, where they're like skills that are required to do a specific job, like transaction processing, which would be like if you know how to run a cash register, know how to handle like the credit card processing systems really well within even a grocery store or a hardware store or any sort of business, period. If you know how to handle that transaction processing system, which some people generically reference as the cash register, that skill you have is transaction processing. So when we're taking a look at skills, we have soft skills and hard skills, but your hard skills are more geared towards things that are very smart, very specific in nature. They include things like data entry, um, stocking in a store. If a person was a stocker in a store, Chappelle, what program are you in? You can feel free to speak.
Are you talking about for Parkland?
Yes,
The Swift?
yes.
That's the program in.
Which one? Which program?
The Swift?
No, not the specific concentration within.
Oh, you talking about medical billing and coding.
Okay, so within medical billing and coding, data entry would be a good hard skill that you would have to have because you'd be using the computer quite often and entering in data. So that would be an example of a hard skill. In a soft skill in your lane would be uh, customer service, like so, because you might have to deal with people who show up and um, into the hospital area and may need to record information that they have to give to you. So that would be an example of soft and hard skills. I just wanted to, since you all are not too many of you all in here, I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak here. Um, so that's the difference between soft and hard skills. Um, another skills category would be transferable skills. Transferable skills are those that can be applied to like almost any industry or working environment. So a good example would be transaction processing, which I mentioned earlier. Almost every business has cash register or a way that customers have to pay for things or apply for credit, etc. Those kind of skills are transferable because they can apply to like they apply in a hospital. They would apply if you worked at the local cable company. Um, they would apply if you went to buy paint from the hardware store, for example. Those are your transferable skills. Just means that they can be both hard and soft. Transferable skills are not different from soft and hard skills. They are just a different category, meaning this specific kind of skill is one that you would see in a lot of lanes or in a lot of industries, so that if you possess this skill, it didn't matter if you were changing careers, the other industry that you're moving towards could see the value in that skill. Um, I want to take a look at some transferable skills here before I have you all do an activity. And please let me know if you all are able to see the screen properly.
Yes.
Okay.
No problem.
And I'll post these links in the chat while you all are doing the activity here shortly. But this is just a decent website where you can go, and there's others. So don't feel confined to this one if you ever want to take a look at what a transferable skill is. Um,
So, a question for you:
absolutely.
Will it be a good idea to take a data entry class?
Um, if you're going to work in an office environment, absolutely.
But
It's
even
gonna
if I know an office environment, but even then, when I get to that point where to work from home, that would still be a good class to take.
certainly most of your work from home activities are going to involve a heavy dose of data entry of sorts. The tasks might be different depending on what your job is and what they have you doing, but for certain, you're going to have to do some sort of uh, recording of data electronically. So that's going to be one of the primary things you want to be very good at doing.
Okay, that'd be my next step after this.
Okay. All right. So everyone needs transferable skills, and I'm just giving you all a glimpse of what this site looks like. It breaks down what transferable skills are, why you might want to include them on a resume, who needs them, incorporating them into your resume. It's a very good site. Then it gives several examples of of different types of transferable skills. And I'll just leave you all with that resource in the chat so you can access it later. I'll probably email the links to you all as well, just so you all have them. Um, but what we're going to move towards now, we're going to take about 5 minutes. If you all could access like a pen and paper or a pencil and paper, and kind of, I'd like for you all to list about 4 to 5 soft skills you know you have, 4 to 5 hard skills you know you have, and then at least 3 transferable skills that you feel that you have or that you might like to have. And then we'll resume. Time wise, we have here about 4:33. So let's just, we'll shoot for 4:38 and we'll kind of resume from there.